So we'll say something just in short about today is Pesach Sheni. So if you have matzah at home, you should eat some matzah.
We have some matzah over here.
But I think there's an important lesson in Pesach Sheni that should not be ignored. And that is the following. We have a Gemara in Maseches Kedushin which says the following. If a person wanted to do a mitzvah, he had every intention of doing the mitzvah, but for some reason beyond his control, he was prevented from doing the mitzvah. The Gemara calls that Chishay Lasos V'ne'enas V'lo Asa. So he had a machshava to do the mitzvah, but something happened that was beyond his control, an onus, and he didn't do the mitzvah. So the Gemara says, Ma'ala alav hakosuf ki'ilu asa.
Machshava k'maaseh.
Well, yeah. Right. The Torah will give you credit as if you did it. It's very nice. You know something? There's a big machlokes about whether we really have free choice or we don't have free choice. We all think we have free choice, right? Because you're sitting here today. If you want to pick your hand up, you have free choice. You want to put it down, you have free choice. No one's interfering with you at all. No interference. So it certainly looks like we have free choice. Okay. We're not going to solve that machlokes here. Because many disagree with it. Say you don't have free choice. Because there's a certain plan that Hashem devised from the beginning of creation to the end. From the beginning of creation to the end, 6,000 years. It's all worked out to the nth degree. Every detail. So how can you have free choice?
Nora alila.
Huh?
Nora alila.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
Alila nora. It's...
You mean it's some kind of blasphemy? It's something negative?
No, it's as you the Rabbi said. It's beyond our...
Well, there are those who hold this is Hashem's plan is devised beforehand and it's worked out to every detail, and therefore how could you have free choice? If it's left up to you, then you're not the architect, he's the architect.
You don't have free choice in everything. You have free choice in a number of things, but not everything.
All right, so you're saying partially. You're saying partially. Anyway, we're not going to solve it. It's a very, very, very big discussion, very deep discussion. We're not going to get into it. Oh, I was wondering where you were. So we're talking about, do you have free choice? You don't have free choice. Is there bechira? Is there not bechira? It's a big discussion. So some hold that when it comes to deeds, since, as we said, Hashem planned the world out from beginning to end, things have to happen in a certain time and place, and there's nothing going to disturb Hashem's plan. He runs the show. So where is the reward and punishment? Where's your free will? If Hashem already decide what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, how do you get reward and punishment? The answer is, they say, you get reward and punishment for your choice. For making the right choice. Having the thought, I want to do this, or I do not want to do it. If it was correct not to do it and you chose not to do it, you get reward. If you chose to do it and you're supposed to do it, you get reward. Whether you did it or not is not important. According to that opinion, the opinion is that you get reward and punishment for your choice. But that fits in very well with the Gemara that we just mentioned. Chishev lasos, you had machshava to do something, v'nedas, and an onus happened, prevented you. You're on the way to go to shul, you want to go daven, all of a sudden, Chalila v'chas, a tremendous accident, or there's a chayfetz chashud, and the police come and they're blocking up the streets, you cannot go past, impossible. You can't get to shul. You get reward for going to shul even though you didn't go. Chishev lasos, onus, ma'ila alav because of kilu asa. Fine. However, what happens if you are given a choice? Is it better to say, well, look, I don't have to do it because I really wanted to do it, and that's enough. It's enough. If the opportunity comes up again, that's a new opportunity. Something new. What do I have to worry about it? What happened, happened. I really wanted to do it. Sincere, wanted to do it. An onus happened, they couldn't do it. I got reward, finished. You see from Pesach Sheni a very interesting thing. When the people came and they said, why should we suffer? Why should we lose out on the Korban Pesach? Because we were far away, we couldn't make it, we were Tomei, whatever it is. We couldn't bring the Korban Pesach. That's the reason that we shouldn't have the privilege of bringing the Korban Pesach too. We also want it. What could have Hashem said? Hashem could have said to them,
because you wanted it.
Chishev lasos, you had a machshava, you got the credit. Why do you have to worry about it? It's even better. You get the credit without doing it. Much easier. You could have said that. Hashem didn't say that. Hashem said, okay, you want to do it? I'm going to give you another opportunity. Pesach Sheni. What do you learn from that? You learn from that a very important idea that a deed, a maisa, is more important than a machshava. Hashem could have said, look, I know what's in your heart. No one knows what's in the heart better than me. You really wanted to do it. And I'm going to accept that. And you're going to get reward for it. Hashem didn't say that. Hashem said, okay, you want to do it? We're going to make a new yontif because of you. Pesach Sheni. And that is a lesson to be broadened to everything else too. If you wanted to do something and you didn't do it, but you really wanted to do it, but somehow you were disturbed, you couldn't do it.
It can't apply to everything, because if you wanted to go to shul today and you couldn't go and you got credit for it, but you can't do it tomorrow and get credit for.
No.
Well, before, right?
Well, it may be. All right. But if you didn't go, but the next day when it comes up, if you don't go the next day, that's a siman that you didn't want to go so much either the first day.
Yeah.
Or a person came by, asked you for tzedakah. And then afterwards you feel bad. Maybe I should have given him. So how are you going to make up for that? He's gone. How are you going to make up for it? When the next person comes, you'll make up for it. You'll give him with extra. I'll give you what I wanted to give the other person, I'm going to give to you also. That shows, but you have to do the deed. You got to do the deed. What we learn from Korban Pesach is that actions speak louder than words or thoughts. It's very difficult. It's a very difficult topic because we're talking about, what about the discussion we had before? Do you have bechira, you don't have bechira? Some say you have no choice in what happens. In deeds, what actions, that's all planned out. Only get reward for your choices. That's in your mind. It's a very problematic area, but we should know from Pesach Sheni, the learning is that when you have an opportunity to do, don't say, I have good intentions. I have good intentions. It's not enough. You've got to do it.
Actually.
You've got to do it. Yeah.
Two questions. Is Pesach Sheni enforced today? And second question, have you ever seen someone keep Pesach Sheni?
The way we keep it is by eating matzah. That's what.
No, that wasn't able to keep the first Pesach.
If you didn't eat matzah, it didn't bring the Korban Pesach. The Korban Pesach was born Erev Pesach, the 14th day of Nisan.
Yeah.
1 month later, Yudal Iyar is the Korban Pesach Sheni. So we didn't bring the first Korban Pesach, and we're not bringing the second Korban Pesach either.
We're talking about today.
I'm talking about today. Did you bring
There is no Korban Pesach.
So I'm saying there is no Korban Pesach, so we do only a Zeicher. A Zeicher. We eat matzah.
There's thousands of
If you haven't, you're talking about if you haven't kept the first Pesach. I'm talking about that Korban, that Pesach Sheni.
What? You're keeping the Seder?
Someone was unable to keep
There's
the
no,
Seder.
there's no second Seder. There's no consecutive. There is
no such thing as a second.
There's no second Seder. And if you missed the sitting in the Sukkah on Sukkot, there's no second chance. No second chance.
There's no Sukkah Sheni, but there's a Pesach Sheni. But that only refers to Korban Pesach, you're saying.
That's right. That's right.
So you have to wait till next year.
No. But the point, the learning from that is, Hashem could have said to them, you don't have to bring another Korban Pesach. Don't think you missed out. You didn't miss out. I'll give you a reward for your choice, for your wanting. But he didn't say that.
Right, I understand.
He says, let's create a doing is more important. I'll tell you why. It's very important. You saw a very important fundamental idea to get into your minds. Why deeds are so important. And you know where it comes up in? I'll tell you. You're sitting and learning Torah, right? You're learning Torah. You're in the Daf Yomi, or you're learning with a Chavrusa. You're middle of learning, correct? And what do we say? Obviously, a mitzvah, put them in a mitzvah, correct? If you're doing one mitzvah, you don't have to stop that mitzvah and do another mitzvah. I'm doing this mitzvah, so I'm doing this mitzvah, okay? Or, while you're doing the mitzvah, somebody comes over to you and says, listen, I need your help. I cannot do it without you. And there's nobody else that can help me. Nobody else can help me. I need your help. And you're learning. Now, a lot of people would say, listen, I'm sorry, I cannot stop learning now. Find somebody else. What do you mean I'm the only one? I'm doing what I have to do. This is my service to Hashem. I'm learning Torah. I don't have to stop. I don't have to stop. If this mitzvah comes up and I'm the only one who can help you, I'm going to let it pass. So I won't do that mitzvah. I won't do it. You need someone to help you, whatever it is, carry the packages, lift up some, I don't know, whatever it is, some kind of chesed. You need some kind of chesed to help you. I'm learning Torah now. Obviously, my mitzvah, put them in a mitzvah. Is that the correct thing to do? Or you say, since I'm the only one who can do it, and there's nobody who can replace me, I've got to close my Gemara and go help. What is the correct answer?
I saw it happen. My nephew went missing. I walked into the Kollel in Philadelphia. They closed their Gemaras and went out to search for him.
You saw that, but who says maybe they made a mistake? I'm just.
Oh, come on! Come on!
It's just theoretically. I'm just.
Come on! We're not talking theoretically. I saw it happen. Why don't you take my word for it?
I take your word for it.
Now don't say they didn't know.
No, I'm saying theoretically.
You've got to have a more accepting attitude.
I accept it.
Accept it.
I accepted it. You're misunderstanding me. I'm saying theoretically. Let's say theoretically.
Well, I wasn't talking theoretically.
Sabaya.
So don't tell me I'm misunderstanding you.
I didn't. No.
Yes, you just said it.
Okay, come on. Let's relax.
No, you're putting me down one subject, one thing after another. You're doing it.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I understand what you said. I love you. You're right. You're 100%. What they did is right. What they did is right. I'm not saying what they did, but I'm asking you now, forget that case. That case happened. I'm asking you right now. You're sitting here learning Torah, right? Right now. Somebody comes in from the street. I need someone to help me. Nobody else is around. I need you. Can you? What about what the Gemara says? The Gemara says, "Oisik mitzvah, put them in a mitzvah." I'm doing this mitzvah now. I'm put for any other mitzvahs.
You don't have to do it, but I think what would be the right thing to do is to close your books and help this man out.
But what about that? And we say also, every morning you say, Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. Right? Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. What's bigger than Talmud Torah? What's bigger than Talmud Torah? It's a more chashuv mitzvah. It keeps the world going.
When a man gets married, that day he doesn't have to go to shul to pray because he's doing one mitzvah already.
So,
right?
So that you're just making the question stronger. You're making the question stronger. The answer is. Ephraim. What's your name? Ephraim?
Yeah.
Huh?
No.
Gabriel. He wasn't here. The answer is in Shulchan Aruch. It says clearly. If there's nobody else to do the mitzvah, you're required to close your Gemara and go do it. Now the question is why? Why? I'm already doing the mitzvah. I'm learning Torah. He wants me to help him with his packages, whatever. I'm learning Torah.
Because he needs help right now, you can always go back.
But at the time that I'm helping him, I'm not learning.
But you can always return and learn.
The learning.
Of course you can. Of course you can learn after you're finished. But I question.
So now you're doing two mitzvahs.
No, but I'm stopping learning.
The learning you do is for a purpose, and doing that action is fulfilling the purpose of what the Torah is all about.
Learning is for a purpose too.
Learning is a purpose too. It's a high purpose. Learning Torah. Right. But it's got to be put into action, our Torah. We're creating the reality of this world and all the different things.
Gabriel, listen to the answer. Listen to the answer. The answer is that there are 4 worlds, 4 levels in the creation. 4 levels. The highest level is very, very close to God, very high spiritual level. It's called Olam Hatzilus. Below that, you have the Olam of Bria, where creation takes place, from nothing to something. Then you have another level below that. It's called the Olam HaYetzirah. That's the Olam of where you have created objects which are reshaped and reformed and mixed up to form other things. And then you have the lowest level called the Olam Ha'asiyah. This is the Olam of action, of deeds, of completion. And this world that we're in is in the Olam Ha'asiyah. It is the lowest level. The furthest away from God, and the lowest level, the level of where action have to be performed. And therefore, if you are learning Torah, and it's a very big mitzvah to learn Torah, Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam, and obviously the mitzvah part of a mitzvah, but you now have the opportunity, the obligation to do a ma'aseh, to help somebody physically do a ma'aseh. And you are not doing a ma'aseh right now. You're only sitting and verbalizing, you're learning. The ma'aseh takes precedence. It's first, because we live in the olam of asiyah. This is a world in which action must take place. And remember, I told you at the beginning that God created the world. He has His plan from beginning until the end, and therefore all actions must take place according to Hashem's plan. And therefore actions must be performed. And they are more important than words, even words of Divrei Torah. This is what is paskin in the Shulchan Aruch. Amazingly, it's paskin in the Shulchan Aruch. And a lot of people don't know that. Especially, you'll find people in the yeshiva world who may not have learned the Shulchan Aruch, and they'll say, "Oh, come on, what's bigger than Talmud Torah? What's bigger than Talmud Torah? We can't stop learning because of this little ma'aseh. So what? So we won't get what he needs, but we're learning Torah. We're keeping the world up." It's wrong. It's wrong. If it comes to if there's somebody else who could do it instead of you, then you have to let them do it, and you keep on learning. because that way nobody loses. He gets what he needs, and I can continue learning. So if he can get someone else to do it, and you'll stay learning, stay learning. But if there's nobody else around, and it's either this or that, you got to make the choice. The answer is Olam Hasiya. This is the world where actions have to take place, and you're mechuyev to stop your learning and go help that person. Do the chesed to him. So deeds are very, very important, and therefore we learn from Pesach Sheni. Hashem did not say you had good intentions, you had a machshava tova, you want a chance to do it, I'm going to make a new yontif for you to do. Because actions are very, very important.
So as he said, why Pesach yes and Sukkot no?
I don't know. Why Hashem didn't make another yontif? I don't know. He didn't make a second Rosh Hashanah, he didn't make a second Sukkot. A lot of things he didn't make. But the principle we can learn. Yeah.
Well, Rabbi, when I moved to Miami Beach in the mid-90s, Shem taught me a very big lesson about how we create our reality by our choices. And what happened was, we just moved there, it was Pesach, and Erev Pesach, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, save this country 3 hours. I tell my young son, I said, we're going to the mikveh. So I get ready to go to the mikveh, my wife comes and says, oh my gosh, I'm getting shank bones for the Seder plate. So I'm sitting there like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, what's going to be open I can get a shake on? What's going to be open? And she said, and also I don't have any desserts for Pesach. So I said, okay. So I leave. So my son says, where are we going to go? I says, I'm going to the mikveh. We're going to the mikveh. He said, well, what about Mom? I said, 30 minutes isn't going to change anything. If we're going to get it, it's only because of Shem that gives it to us. So we go to the mikveh. And then the mikveh, and my mind's thinking about this, but I go into the mikveh, I come out, I'm getting dressed, and all of a sudden I come into the reality I'm at now because my mind was thinking, where am I going to go? And I see a rabbi toiling dishes. I look in this room, there are thousands of dishes. Thousands. I said, Rabbi, you're going to total all these dishes? He said, yes. I said, what'd you wait so long for? How are you going to get this done? He said, I'm the shop at the Crown Hotel, Miami Beach. They just told me they bought all the dishes. So I loaded them in my station wagon and the seats in the back, and I came here. And so I told my son, I said, you got to help him. You have to help him? He said, well, what about Mom? I said, how can we do this guy like this? So we start, and then the 3 of us are just going as fast as we can. We get them all toilet. I said, you need it. I look and I said, do you need help maybe to get them to the car? He said, yes. So we get them all to this big station wagon deal we have. I said, do you have help over there when you get there? He goes, not really. I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know what to do. It's like sending something now. So we race to the Crown Hotel, running all this stuff up. We get the last stuff up, and I said, Rabbi, I'm sorry, I have to go. I have to go find shank bone and desserts. So I turn to leave. He grabs me. He says, what did you want? I said, shank bones and taste like desserts and stuff. So just think about where you're standing. You're standing in the Crown kitchen. How many desserts do you want? Miami Beach.
My grandmother used to have a little century sucker.
He said, you see that wall there? It must have gone out 20 feet. They had pallet deals that can move trays, huge walls. This thing's for like 800 people, you know, for all the Seder meals for over a week. And he goes, how many shank bones do you want? I'm like, and Shem Tov showed me. It was all there waiting for us. It's all about choices in life. Because of the choice of helping the Jew, Shem it was already laid out for me. This was coming. It was a great learning experience for me and my son also. So, but it's like a rock thrown into a pond. It keeps rippling. So I come home. I bring. You can't imagine how many desserts I bring home and shank bones. My wife's like shocked. So what happens? Sukkot comes. I don't go anywhere to get that drugs. I just moved there right before Pesach, and I said, where do we even look? So the guy said, Toward Treasures. So I said, okay. So I go to Toward Treasures, and I asked, do you have somebody here that can help me to pick out a good drug? I don't really know. I came from Texas. We just lucky to have one. So he said, sure, go to the back. So I go to the back. It's the same rabbi that was at the crown. So he sits there and he goes, so what happens? He gives me the best, everything. He treats me like a king. We leave. The ripple keeps happening. I get a call that summer.
We have
just this last little bit. It takes a few seconds. I get a call that summer from the rabbi in Texas, Rabbi Block. He's the Chabad rabbi in San Antonio. There was a boy in your daughter's class. His name is Levi. I remember him. He applied for this trip that goes from Canada all the way down to Miami, and they stop at all the Jewish communities on the way. He applied for that. Job. So I said, I remember, but I don't know him that well. I'll call Rabbi Block in San Antonio. So I called him and he said, his parents aren't religious. It would be the best thing for him if he could have something like this. So the guy says, if you say it's done, it's finished. I said, do it. So this boy now, because of this, it just keeps on domino. And how many more things that we don't even see when we do it? So it just keeps on going on and on and on.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay. Good. You should write it up. Write it up. You should write it up.
I had 100 of those.
I write it up. I'll publish it.
Everybody tells me to write a book, make a book.
No, we put out.
I'm just going off to the
we
right.
put out a weekly parsha sheets with stories that people send in of good midos. This is wonderful. I could publish it. It'll be a good teaching for other people.
I can tell you that Rabbi Spitz is the rabbi in Miami Beach.
Okay, write it up, Elio. Write it up. Okay, one more thing before we get into the Baal Shem Tov, we still have time for the Baal Shem Tov? Yeah. About today's Sfira. The Sfira today is 29, we counted last night, 29, and it's Chesed Shebahod. Chesed Shebahod, that's the Midah. The Midah. Chesed Shebahod is a very interesting thing. Hod comes from the word hoda'ah, to express thanks, gratefulness, graciousness, gratefulness. Well, how does it have to do with chesed shebahod? It's a very interesting thing. So it's very important to be grateful. When you're grateful, you are, I would say, radiating a certain personality, that you appreciate what other people do. You radiate, you smile, you express your gratitude to the people. In most cases, it's something that they did for you and you want to say thank you for, in most cases. But what happens if somebody does something, didn't do it for you? They may have done it for somebody else, or for a group, not knowing that you're in the group, and you benefited from what they did. This midah of chesed shebahod would tell us, if you benefited from it, even though they did not do it for you, but you nevertheless benefited from it, thank them anyway. When you benefit from somebody, that is a wonderful, wonderful experience to show your humility, to show your graciousness, to show how thankful you are, even though it wasn't done for you. That would be the learning from today's midah of chesed shebahod. Use the hod to do chesed, to thank somebody even though it was not done from you. This is a very, very important midah. We know the midah of hakaras hatov is basic to Judaism. It's basic to being a mensch. But here the idea is to do it in such a way where it's not required of you, because nobody did you anything specifically. Nevertheless, indirectly, you benefited from it. Thank the person. Thank the person anyway. Okay. That's Chesed Tzibah. All right, now we'll do something in the Baal Shem Tov where we had so many things we had to do in between, so we didn't get too much into the Kavanas of the Baal Shem Tov. But let's start getting back into that.
Is that 40, page 48?
148. 148. Okay.
So my grandmother had a little store in that ground. Yes. Her name was Mary.
All right. Let's look at Rabbi side.
When did she die?
Ois Tzadi.
Tzaddik?
Right, Tzadi. You have it? Tzadi?
show them.
You have it? You missing a page?
We don't have any pages.
Here you are.
Thank you.
Ois Tzadi. Yachshov Adam B'dibur. Now, Shem Tov was trying to give you a, let's call it, umbrella look, a general overview. You have to understand not to take things for granted. You want to talk, you open your mouth and talk. You have to understand there's an entire world behind speech. Yachshov Adam B'dibur, she'olam hadibur, dibur medaber bo. Olam gadol kazeh, shebo nivreu kol ha'olamos. K'disa v'hi bar am, shehu behei motzas hapel. This is an amazing awareness. You have to be so aware of this. It'll make you appreciate much more the simpleness about just opening your mouth and speaking. It seems it's something we take it for granted. But he's trying to teach us not to take speech for granted. This whole concept, this phenomena of speech, it's something that only human beings have. Animals can communicate, but they don't have speech. Even a parrot that can imitate human speech, to a parrot it's only sound. He has no idea what speech is. He can imitate you, that's all. To him it's only making noises which sound like what he hears, but he doesn't have any speech. There's no thought, nothing. You have to realize that speech that we have here is only a simon of an entire network that was used to create the world. It's mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. It can really actually blow your mind if you think about it. The simple speech that we have is part of an entire system that was used to create the world. Create the world with speech. And what HaKadosh Baruch Hu does, he has narrowed down this tremendous universe of speech. He's narrowed it down into something very, very small that you can make use out of it. But it's really part of the tremendous universe of energies and all kinds of computations and what's going on in order to have speech. Hashem used the Aleph Beis to create the world. There's a whole sefer called Sefer Yetzirah, which is the secrets of creation, which we have a tradition that it was learned by a malach with Avraham Avinu, Sefer Yetzirah. He taught him all the secrets of creation. And therefore, all kinds of things can be done with speech, which are really absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Things that we've done with speech. With speech, you can change the realities with speech. You can change realities with speech. You can bring a curse with speech. You can bring a blessing with speech. Speech has a tremendous koach. Do you know why? Because speech comes from the Neshama. The Neshama comes from Hashem. And that's what Adam Arisha, Hashem vayipach be'apav nishmas chayim. Hashem blew into his nostrils that ability to speak. And so we're talking about creative abilities of the entire world, which were narrowed down and given to us to be able to use. It's absolutely amazing. Now we understand why tefillah, it's amazing, tefillah, prayer, has to have movement of the lips. You must enunciate letters. According to the Zohar, when you're davening, according to the Zohar, when you're davening, all you have to do is move your lips. Your own ears, the Arizal says, should not even hear the words that are coming out of your mouth. This is very, very difficult for most of us. Very difficult for most of us. When you're davening, for most of us, it's probably better that we do hear what we're saying, so that we know we're not mumbling the words. People daven very quickly, they swallow the words, they don't hear anything. It's a big mumbo jumbo, that's all it is. I spoke to somebody who came from New Jersey. He says in his minyan, the entire davening takes about 20 minutes.
Wow.
From the beginning to the end, 20 minutes.
Too fast.
Huh?
It's too fast.
Too fast. It's a joke. They're fooling themselves that he davens in a seeking minyan. You get up early. 20 minutes the whole davening, 7 minutes the whole thing from Baruch Hu to the end of Shemona Esrei, 7 minutes the whole thing. I'm sure they don't hear what to say. For most people, it's probably better to hear the words that you say. But according to the Baal Shem Tov and according to the Arizal, if you hear what you're saying, you are demonstrating that Hashem has to hear the words clearly, otherwise He won't answer your prayers. That's not so. All Hashem wants you to do is make the slightest effort, move your lips, form the letters, some kind of a sound should come out. But according to the Zohar, the indication is that you shouldn't even hear your own words. And not surely somebody else's words. You shouldn't say it loud enough to disturb somebody else. But that's only according to the Zohar, according to the Kabbalah. According to Halacha, it's probably better that you do hear your own words, that you know you're saying it clearly that way, you're pronouncing it the way you should, and then they have the full effect. Because a word requires it that it's said properly. Words require to be said properly. If you want to be healthy, you want to protect your limbs, you want to protect your organs, I'll give you 2 eitzes. 2 eitzes. It's practical advice that everybody can use every single day. Number 1, make sure you say Kriyat Shema, word for word, carefully. Why? If you say Kel Elech Ne'aman, or you say Hashem Elokechem Emes at the end, you add those 3 words. There's 248 words in Kriyat Shema. Those 240 words, they energize an entire network in Shemayim, which corresponds to 248 organs in your body. And it energizes them, it gives them health. That's number 1. You say Kriyat Shema twice a day, and you have kavanah to say it clearly, all the Kriyat Shema, you are energizing those special energies, and they in turn give you positive effect on the organs of your body. You have to say Kriyat Shema slowly and every word. That's number 1. Number 2, there's a special tefillah in Tehillim called Shir HaPagayim. That's Siman Perek Tzadi Aleph, 91 in Tehillim. Yoshev B'Seiser Elyon. We just said it last night after Shemona Esrei of Ma'ariv. Yoshev B'Seiser Elyon. V'hi Noam, you say right before that, In Tehillim, V'hi Noam is the last sentence of Mizmor Tzadi, of Mizmor Tzadi Tehillim. The last sentence is V'hi Noam, and then you have Yoshev B'Seser. If you take all the words in that V'hi Noam and Yoshev B'Seser, you add them all up, count them, I did it, and it's perfectly correct. It's 124 words. 124 words. So if you say that at the beginning of the week, and surely every single day, you say it twice, V'hi Noam and Yoshev B'Seser until the last sentence, and you repeat it a second time, you'll have exactly 248 words, and that siman in Tehillim is specially made for protection of the person. It protects against all evil forces of any kind. Yeah.
That's why we say it, or at least we say it in Milano, when you do the Gesoilam, when you bring somebody.
They say it here too. When you're taking a body of a male, out from the funeral parlor, taking him out to the cemetery to bury him, on the way out, the Chevra Kadisha says Yoshev B'Seser. Why? Because this person in his lifetime may have done all kinds of averos, and those averos, as he's going out to bury, they have created malachim, and these malachim are coming now and being mitzaer him, and we want to protect him from those malachim.
Shading.
And therefore we say the Yoshev B'Seser. It's called the Shir HaPagayim. It protects the person from all negative influences. So you don't have to be dead to say that. You can say it when you're alive.
This is Tehillim. Tehillim?
Tzadi Aleph, 91 in Tehillim, and the pasuk beforehand at the end of 90. Tzadi, V'hi Noam is the last pasuk in Tzadi. You can say that together with Tzadi Aleph. Say it twice in concession, right after one after the other. It provides the person with protection of all negative influences. It's kedai to say it every single day. Why not? I mean, it's this very simple thing. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost anything. You say it after davening, before davening, after you say your brachos in the morning, before you start davening, you can say it. I think it's a good idea to say it then, because if there are any things in the air that they're trying to disturb your davening, this could help you as a protection that they won't be able to disturb your davening so much. You're protected by this spiritual canopy sort of over you, which protects you. It also protects you against physical harm too. So it's kedai every single day to say the Kriya Shema carefully and say V'hi Noam and Yoshev B'Seser Tzadi Aleph. The point is this, it's a little bit off of what we were talking about. Speech has a lot of power. Speech has a lot of power because it comes from an entire network and it's narrowed down so that we can use it. But it really is an entire network that we're drawing from. That's what he said. It's an Olam of Dibur, Olam Gadol. Olam Gadol, he says. It's a big world. And it divided up into 5 sections in the mouth. Hey Motzos HaPeh. This will help you to think of the great glory of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shekol Chayos HaOlamos Hu B'Dibur. The entire life of all the worlds is all dependent on Hashem's Dibur. V'hu Olam Hayira. Now that is wonderful. You hear what he's saying? This also happens to be the same world, the same level that is described by awe. It is an awesome thing. Olam Hayira. Ukavayochol Shchina mitzamtzemes es atzma v'shora b'diburo u'befiv. The Shchina, that means a manifestation of a HaKadosh Baruch Hu, narrows itself down and it hovers and occupies the words that come out of your mouth. That's amazing. It's amazing. Remember the Baal Shem Tov said, don't make the mistake. If you go into shul, it says, very often on the Oren Kodesh or the Parochas, Da lefnei mi ata omed. Know who you're standing in front of. You're standing in front of God. Behave yourself. Speak correctly. Stand with respect. Say the words nicely. Well, Shem Tov says that's for the average person. The truth of the matter is, the Shekhinah is in your mouth. It's coming out of the words that you say. The Shekhinah is in there. In the words, in the letters that you're saying, you are just giving the Shekhinah the ability to express itself outwardly, because that's where it's coming from. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's a tremendously powerful world. It's huge. It's the entire universe. And it's narrowed down into each person. When he speaks, he's using the Shekhinah. And the Shekhinah is what comes out of his mouth. It's true what it says on the Yoram Kodesh. Da lifnei mi ato omeid. No, you're standing in front. The Shekhinah is there too. But don't think that it's only there and you're standing in front of it and you're not part of it, you're just addressing it. No. It's all over. It's in you. And it comes out of your mouth. When you're speaking, you say the words. These words of Torah. But not only davening, Torah too. It's the Shekhinah comes out of your mouth when you're saying it. You have to realize how valuable, how delicate, how holy that is. A person's words. And you have the ability, the source, the privilege to do that. Wow, that's really something. That's really, really something. So that's what the Shem Tov is telling us, to have that realization. Have that realization. To work this all out, this is beyond human ability to understand how Hashem worked that all out. But the Baal Shem Tov is telling us that is the reality. That's the truth. And therefore, when you stand in davening, you have to realize what you're doing, what you're saying. You have to be very, very careful with speech. Now imagine, just as we were talking about before, you take the speech and you use it to say something wrong. You say Lashon Hara. Wow. Wow. What can be more disrespectful than that? Using this holy speech from the Shekhinah, and you're putting it into the garbage, putting it into the toilet, or talking Lashon Hara, or cursing. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. A person who has that awareness, you just can't handle it. How can I take something so holy, the Shekhinah, and disgrace it? Disgrace it. How can you do such a thing? And you have this inside you. It's not not in the Yoram Kodesh, not on the Aron. It's inside you. The Shekhinah is it's an entire world which has been narrowed down, and you have the ability to use it. Amazing, amazing concept. So that's what you have to think about when you're standing up. It's not only standing up for Shemona Esrei, it's for the entire davening. Psukei Zimra, B'chas Kriya Shema, it's all the same source. It's also the same. But Shemona Esrei, in the davening process, we elevate ourselves to higher and higher worlds. Okay, but the same process occurs. It's always working the same way. It's the same Shekhinah comes out of your mouth from Psukei Zimra. The same Shekhinah comes out of your mouth from Kriya Shema or from Shemona Esrei. You have important to remember that. Yeah, that's the realization. This is what the Baal Shem Tov is trying to get us to understand, to realize. It's a very, very, it's an amazing realization. If you have the realization, you're already on a great level. Just to have the realization, to realize it, and to feel it, you're in a tremendously higher level than most people. Most people take it for granted. It's Gurnish ben Gurnish. This fellow was telling me, he comes from a state, and they finished the whole davening in 20 minutes. Finished, 7 minutes. From Baruch to the end of Shemona Esrei, finished, 7 minutes. They have it all mapped out, timed out.
But really, don't our thoughts have power too?
What?
Our thoughts have power also. We're judged by you.
In the next line of the Baal Shem Tov, he talks about thought. It's even more. It's even higher. It's even higher. But we'll get to that next week. Next week.
Can I repeat a word of Rabbi Sprecher who taught us?
Of course.
How can we see from the Chumash that the world is creating reality.
Okay?
When the Kohen Gadol says she's a Metzora, she becomes Metzora. If the Kohen Gadol doesn't say she's a Metzora, she's not a Metzora.
That's right.
So this is how words create reality.
Remember that.
But that's, you see, that's a different kind of reality. That's a spiritual reality. It's a spiritual reality because her body has these, or the person's body has these simanim. The question is it tamei or is it tahor? So if he says she's tamei, then she's tamei. That's a spiritual reality. I mean, because the body has this simanim nevertheless. The question is, someone has to decide on it. You have to have the expert to decide, is it malignant or is it not malignant? So the Kohen says it's malignant, so it's malignant. It's a reality too. I don't disagree with what he said. It's a reality. But we spoke about, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Our thoughts also create reality.
Rosh Chodesh.
Wait a minute. Oh, I got to tell you this. This is amazing. Maybe you probably heard it before, but I can't get over it. It's absolutely amazing. There's in Maseches Ksubos, in the Talmud Yerushalmi, it's absolutely amazing. It says that a basula, a young girl, she's never been married, she gets ksuba of 200 zuz. That's her ksuba. It's standard 200 zuz. If she's not a basula, for whatever reason, then she gets, let's say, 100. Her husband's not getting unused material. There's something lacking in her. She doesn't have her virginity anymore, and therefore she only gets 100 for the ksuba. Now, what happens if a young girl, in those days, by the way, people matured a lot much earlier. Much earlier. A girl could become mature even before she's 12 years old. She could even have children. When she's a youngster, 7, 8 years old, they can have children already. There was a case not long ago, a few years ago, I was giving a shiur here in Beis Knesset HaGadol to a group, and we were talking about the earliest age recorded that somebody gave birth. And one fellow looked at, you got it, a 5-year-old girl in Peru.
In Peru, right.
In Peru, she gave birth, 5-year-old girl. She had all of the bodily developments that she needed before she was, and she was 5 years old, she gave birth. Amazing. So in times of the Chazal, in the Tanakh, people matured a lot earlier. Anyway, so this girl, she's under 3 years old. And for some reason or other, an accident happened, or some pedophile molested her, whatever it is, and she lost her virginity. So the Gemara says, up until 3 years old, it grows back. The cells rejuvenate, it grows back. Okay. Now what happens after 3 years old? Then it won't go back. It won't go back. Now what happens if Beis Din is going to now discuss whether it's Rosh Chodesh or not Rosh Chodesh? If they say it's a leap year and there's going to be an extra year, an extra month, this girl lost her virginity. Remember, and they're talking now, and she's at the borderline. Is she 3 years old or not 3 years old? If there's an extra month, then she's not 3 years old yet. If there's no extra month, then she already is 3 years old. Says the Gemara, absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. If she lost her virginity, and she's under 3 years old, and the Beis Din paskins that it's Rosh Chodesh, and there's no leap year, it's not going to grow back. If he's 3 years old, she's already 3 years old. But if Beis Din paskins, no, there's an extra month. We thought the year is going to start now, a new year, Nisan. The Beis Din paskins that there's going to be extra Adar. So under normal circumstances, if we count the months, she already is at that age. Now Bezdin increased an extra month to the previous year. It's going to grow back. It's going to grow back. It has nothing to do with the actual time. It has to do with Bezdin decided to add an extra month. That's going to make her virginity grow back.
Can she marry a Kohen?
In such a case, she would be able to l'chayra. She'll still be a pasula. It's absolutely amazing. That's what the Gemara says. The Gemara says, you see what speech can do. What speech can do. Speech, like Rav Spechter was saying, can create a reality. She lost her virginity. It shouldn't go back because she's not going to be over 3 years old. But if Bezin decides to extend the year, another month of Adar, not Nisan yet, it has an extra month to grow back, and it's going to grow back. That's what Chazal say. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, we see the koch of speech. We should not...
Did this ever happen?
I don't know.
With the yes?
Yes, if it ever happened. But we should not take speech for granted. It's very, very precious. Every word.
That's why Lashon Hara is such a terrible thing.
That's not what we're saying.
Speeches in there.
That's not what we're saying. You take the kedusha of the speech and you desecrate it that way with saying Lashon Hara or any avera of speech at all. What a disgrace. What a disgrace. Okay, till next week in this one.
I'm very curious.